Happy Monday to all you minties. This is the Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition. And today, join me as I take an advanced look at the Spider-Man Miles Morales Omnibus and talk about the difference between these two books right here. So please stay tuned. Now, before I start the video, as always, I'd like to thank David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This book comes out on February 12th, and it does retail for $100. And we're going to talk about the content. But really quick, what I wanted to talk about, because I've had a lot of these questions on the channel, is what is the difference between these two books? Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, came out a couple of years ago, and it had, well, you can see it for yourself, had some binding issues. They are reprinting this, and with probably wonderful, best binding you could find out there, and that will be released later on this year. This, however, is a continuation of this story right after Secret Wars. As a matter of fact, the Patreon poll voted for an Ultimate Spider-Man comprehensive reading order, so that is coming on Wednesday. But really quick, this happens, Secret Wars happens, and then we get Miles Morales in the 616 universe, because he was living in the Ultimate universe. That's a completely different universe in different continuity than this. So, and directly after this omnibus, you can jump into the Saladin Ahmed series, which has been collected in trade paperback so far. Now, let's look at this omnibus. So, here is the spine. Bendis, Basaldua, Leon, and Pacelli. And then you have the back here, giving you the contents of the book, what is collected here. The price, again, $100. Now let's look at it without the dust jacket. I really like this. It looks like just action images and panels from the actual comics themselves that are found inside of the book. Okay, let's get this started. Page ends there, and then we have a picture of Miles swinging. You know, with this wristband, by the way, if you're wondering, I did suffer a wrist injury last week, or this is pre-recorded, but yes, last week, and it's harder to turn pages with this thing. But now let's give credit where credit is due. These are all the wonderful people that made this possible: Jennifer Grunwald, Caitlin O'Connell, Kateri Woody, Mark Beasley, Jeff Youngquist, Stacy Sucker, and Adam Del Rey were the book designers, and of course David Gabriel. And here you have your table of contents, who the artists are. The main artist that kicked this off was, of course, Sarah Pacelli, and then the other big artist is Oscar Basaldua, who eventually took over the book. So, when I do these overviews, you all know I don't like to talk about spoilers or anything, but the one thing I will say, and I'm sure you probably know about this, that during this time, when this omnibus came out, Miles is now in the 616 universe. He started off in the Ultimate Universe, and because of the huge event that was Secret Wars, him and a couple of others were able to come to the 616 universe. So that means that he is actually here with our Peter Parker, which is the Peter Parker we've been reading about since 61, our Avengers, our X-Men, and things like that. Genki, like I said, he's not the only character that came over, is also here, and his mom and dad. So it's pretty interesting to see him now interact with these characters that we know and love for years. Because to me, I don't know, he's still a fresh new character, even though he'd been around for about 5 years before this, 4 or 5 years before this book started. There's Bombshell. So you have returning cast members, and then you have him interacting with the 616 universe. There's a crossover here, actually, that's drawn by Robbie Rodriguez with Spider-Gwen. It's actually a pretty cool crossover. So let's talk a little, and here's the Robbie Rodriguez artwork. So let's talk a little bit about what all is contained in the book. So this omnibus collects Spider-Man, the 2016 series, not Amazing Spider-Man, it's just adjectiveless Spider-Man, 1 through 21, and then going back to its original numbering, 234 to 240, and then Spider-Gwen 16 through 18 because of the crossover, and then Spider-Man 2, that's the sequel, that's where he meets Peter Parker, but now it takes place in the 616 universe, and that's the 5-issue miniseries, and then Generations, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's pretty interesting that those two characters are now meeting again, but it's all in the same universe. Now, I will say I was one of those posers that was like, nah, I'm done with the Ultimate Universe. They ruined the Ultimate Universe with Ultimatum. I don't care. But for some reason, Spider-Man was just one of those books that I would read every month. And I know I'm also one of those guys that's not big on the Bendis train. I have been for very many years. And I don't know what it was about this book. Maybe I just found pure joy in it. And Miles was really awesome. Like, there are some things I don't agree with that Bendis did. Just look at this gorgeous artwork. But for the most part, it was still a pretty fun book. Even when he brought it over into the 616 universe. It took a little while to get used to, but it's still pretty interesting. And it's crazy because the guy wrote the book, Ultimate Spider-Man. He's the one that kicked it off. He wrote it for 18 years. That is a freaking task. Chris Claremont, to put things into perspective, Chris Claremont wrote Uncanny X-Men for about 17 years, right? He's come back. But Bendis, from issue 1 all the way up until 240, plus the annuals and plus the miniseries and all that, he wrote just about 300 issues and 17-year span. Now, him and Mark Bagley were out to break records, too. And it's good to see Mark Bagley does come back to do some of this stuff. But it's mainly, like I said, it kicks off with the wonderful and talented Sarah Pacelli's artwork and moves on over to Oscar Basaldua, who becomes the penciler through the last few issues of the book, too. Now, let's look at the extras in the back. Because as you all know, I don't like to give away spoilers. So there's a goodbye letter here. It's 2 pages. I'm surprised it's only 2 pages. I'm sure he had to go through a bunch of edits. But it's from Bendis saying goodbye to his character, because he did create. Him and Sarah Pacelli created the character of Miles Morales. Now, this is before the Spider-Verse movie came out, but he had seen a screening of it. And it's a really sweet goodbye letter. Here are the wonderful variant covers. I always love that cover. Let's look at some of these really quick. That's got a... I could have sworn that was Jeffrey Scott Campbell. Just because of the... his facial expression, or his face. Pascal Perry. I know there's a... right there. I love that cover. And this is by Richard Eisenhoff, who is known to be a colorist. Like, he did the Dark Tower. He's done Wolverine Origins. But anyway, he's an actual artist. He's a solid artist. There's some more variants. Spider-Gwen variants. Oh, that's Joe Jusko. That's really cool. Oh, Sophie Campbell. I love Sophie Campbell's artwork. Been working on Ninja Turtles for a while. That's awesome. Some really great art back here. And then these are the Jesus Zais connecting covers. Damn, that's pretty epic. That's from the Generations by Oliver Copiel. And then, of course, the couple of extra pages like character designs and things. Not going to show all that. And that's it. 856 pages. Like I said, retails for $100. Let's look at this binding. Sewn binding on that ribbon that isn't going anywhere. And there's the eye. You probably saw as I flipped through the pages that there is no gutter loss at all. Hardly. Maybe towards the front pages, if any. Just a little bit. But that's because of the sewn pages and that eye. Now, remember, you can purchase the book from cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Cheap Graphic Novels Black Friday sale is continuing all through December, so there's still time to save up to 95% off thousands of books. Additional books will be added throughout the month, so be sure to check back often and stay tuned to CGN on social media to be the first to know when the new books have been added to the sale. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to pick it up, if you already got it pre-ordered, if I was able to help with what the differences are. To clarify all that, don't forget to come back on Wednesday when I'm going to do the comprehensive reading order of Ultimate Spider-Man from the very beginning all the way up until now. And one more thing to remember, I am on vacation, but I will be back on Thursday to reply to all the comments, so leave those comments down below. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon. Don't forget to check us out on Redbubble. All of that information is in the description down below. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.